With gear, it's always an experiment. It's always trial and error. You're always trying different things, seeing what works, going back to the drawing board. Starting with your head, I want to say a helmet is a must for winter cycling. I want to suggest also getting a mirror. Mirrors are great in winter too, because if you're shoulder checking, you're throwing off your center of balance. Your center of balance is really important to staying on your wheels if you're riding on ice. So you can see what's around you better. You can pick your lane. You can move out into the middle of the road if that's what you need to do, if there's a big pile of snow or something, and you're staying balanced better just by glancing up rather than shoulder checking. So it's better for your balance, better to see around you. If you just have a regular bike helmet for winter riding, you might consider buying a rain cap for your helmet. Anything that's good for deflecting water is also good for deflecting wind, and wind chill is a big factor when you're winter riding. There's always a wind chill because you're creating one. So anything that's designed for rain is great in winter because it blocks wind. Another helmet option, which I've never tried, but someone gave me and said, why don't you try it out? This is a snowboard helmet. And the reason why it might be a good idea is you've got more coverage. There's less air going through. So in the winter, you might be warmer, especially your ears, in a snowboard helmet. Goggles are a must. If you're riding anywhere colder than, say, minus 15, wind chill's really hard on the eyes. It's also good for snowing, sleeting, all that, to keep the ice out of your eyes. Goggles are a must. These I bought from the diving shop, anti-fog. You might be able to get an anti-fog type product from a hockey store as well. I know that some players with visors use them. Dish soap, I'm told, works pretty well too. But a consideration when you're buying goggles, if you wear glasses, is try them on. Some goggles don't fit over glasses. So I had to go to 3 or 4 different stores before I actually found goggles that worked. And even then, I had to take an X-Acto knife and I had to cut out an area. So if you're buying goggles and you're concerned about glasses, be careful. Under the helmet, another must is the Balaclava. Since I'm a winter cyclist and I'm sometimes lazy when I'm going shopping, I have scared a checkout clerk in a store before. So since then, I've, show more of my face when I go into a business, and then they're less likely to think you're going to rob them. But I got tired of the thin balaclava and the layering, and especially protecting your nose. This doesn't protect your nose at all. So for a while, I was wearing this, a thin toque, making this bigger. And then, how do you protect the nose? You still have a nose showing. So I was taking I wrecked a washcloth, I cut a triangle out of the fabric. You shove the triangle up your goggles and it pokes out and you cover your nose. That worked. You kind of feel like a bit of a freak with the triangle of fabric hanging off your nose. So I invested, this was a really expensive balaclava, but I invested in a really good, expensive one. And you're not going to get frostbite on your nose with this one. When you're leaving for the day, when you're winter cycling, look in the mirror, see if there's any skin showing. If there's any skin showing, you might get frostbite in that area. Cover it up. So MEC again is where I bought this balaclava. It's 3 times the price of this one, but it's fantastic. So that's the head. I don't wear a big winter jacket when I'm riding. I find that my core stays fairly warm. I wear This is actually a rain coat for cycling. Good thing about it is the neck is fairly small when it's done up, so you're not going to get much cold air down the neck. You can tuck your balaclava right in. It's anything that like I said before, anything that protects you against rain is really going to do a good job with wind. So I want to recommend get a cycling rain jacket. They're a fortune, but you know, I've had it for 6 years. Divide the $200 by 6, it'll eventually pay for itself. On days that it's not raining, snowing, there's not much water coming off the road, you can get away with just a windbreaker. So this is a cycling windbreaker. Minus 20, all I wear is a windbreaker, a sweatshirt, and a t-shirt. You're generating a lot of heat. It's easy for you to keep your core warm. So you don't need much as long as you keep your heart rate up. You don't need much for a jacket. It's good to have armpit zippers. Hands are the thing that I forgot about. Layers. This is a cheap pair of leather gloves from the Army surplus store. When I was buying gear, I didn't always have enough money to afford the fancy stuff. It's good to have a pair of dollar store gloves, especially if you're unlocking your bike in your garage that isn't heated or outdoors. It's hard to unlock your bike wearing 3 pairs of gloves. So if you have a thin pair, you're not going to freeze your hands while you're doing the unlocking. They slip right underneath, just a standard pair of ski gloves, whatever you wear. But I want to recommend getting another pair to slip over your normal pair. Pants. Once again, these are rain pants. They're designed for cycling, so the knee is a bit tapered. Right there is the back. Little generous vents, so you can vent yourself as much as you want on the sides. This gear is really expensive, but I want to say it pays for itself in the end. So that's rain gear. These are just wind pants for cycling. So I've gotten 6 years out of these. They're really good, but they're not as good in the extreme cold as these are. I'm going to show you my underwear. Just like a high school student, I'm going to hang my underwear out of my pants. Yeah, it's a pair of long johns. What's the big deal, right? But actually, they're fantastic. You should get a pair of thermal underwear. They cost a fortune, but you don't need like tons of layers. When it's minus 20, minus 25, I wear these and I wear these. And until I got the thermal underwear, I was putting sweatpants, pajamas, long underwear, like 3 layers under this. So it reduces the number of layers you need. On the super cold days, like coldest I've ridden is minus 48, you do want thermal underwear, a pair of sweatpants, maybe a pair of oversized jeans if you've got, and then the rain pants. It's important for your feet to stay dry and warm. Super duper thermal socks. Go to one of those walking stores. Get a pair of $25 socks. Like, it sounds ridiculous. Socks should be next to nothing, but they're awesome. I really want to recommend a pair of booties. You don't always want to crack out the Sorels. These are good for like minus 30 and lower. Does anyone have a pair of old school? Yeah? If you're going to cycle and honestly it's a minus 40 day, I don't know how warm your toes are going to be in a pair of hiking boots at the end of the ride. I've had these since grade 10 and they're awesome. But basically, like, gear is expensive. The good gear is expensive, and spend a little money if you're going to be winter cycling. If you know it's something that's going to work for you and you're going to do it for a number of years, yeah, it's really expensive right off the bat to get the fancy pants and the fancy coat. But in the end, you're going to save some money and you're going to be more comfortable. If you're not comfortable, you're going to give up. with winter cycling, and you're going to go back to driving or the bus or whatever however you normally get around. So the key is to be comfortable right off the bat, to be safe right off the bat. The best experience, or the better your first experience is, the more you're going to stick with it. So it's good to be comfortable. It takes an extra few minutes to get dressed, but that's all I have for gear. That's all I have for tips.